What is good, everyone? Welcome back to Nate Trades. Today is day number 16 of documenting my journey to becoming a consistently profitable day trader. Today is July 16th, 2026, Thursday. I'm going to be going over the one trade that I ended up taking today and the one trade that I ended up fading today. It was a win right here, clean. I'm going to break down all of it, but first let's get right into market bias. All right, on the 4 hour time frame, you can see we are clearly trending lower. Even though we had these stacked highs, you can see the ES formed a SMT and swept the high and then is moving lower. On NQ here, we had relative equal lows, and then here we're both just trending towards a low. All right, going into the 1 hour time frame, you can see we just traded into a 1 hour bearish pre-market, and then we have been respecting bearish PD arrays. So overall, I was leaning bearish. On the 15-minute time frame, you can see we have a 15-minute clear bearish fair value gap right here, two of them actually stacked. That I was looking for us to hit potentially and move lower, or a simple resweep of the high right here inside this 1 hour to move lower. All right, on the gamma exposure side of things, here we have SPY right here and QQQ right here. So starting off with SPY, for gamma exposure going to market open, so we're sitting at the 753 level, and we actually had more positive gamma higher at 505 at the 756 strike, as well as the 757 strike, and then lower at the 750 strike. So I was actually leaning really neutral because of the gamma specifically. Like we had a lot more positive above, and then we had a bit more negative below. On QQQ, you can see that we opened here at 713, and here's the gamma pre-market. So we had a big gamma strike here at 710. I'm not sure why these are all blank, but for some reason today they were. But yeah, we had a big gamma strike here at 710, and then we had a pretty big one here at 715. So I had those marked out right here, 710, and yeah, just having one on both sides and sitting in the middle of that, I was again pretty neutral. ICT wise, I was leaning more bearish, but because of the gamma, and I know that gamma attracts price, and I know that over the last 2 weeks, all the times that I've taken trades without gamma in my favor, I've always lost. Like almost every single one of my losses over the last 2 weeks has occurred because there was no gamma that I was targeting. And so because of that, I was leaning very, very neutral. And honestly, I was being very risk off, being very observant, and just being very patient. All right, going right into market open, what happened? We moved higher and then immediately started displacing lower, which is exactly what I was looking for, but at the same time, I honestly just wasn't confident. ES did hit two 1 hour bearish for value gaps, and NQ did trade into a 15-minute bearish for value gap right here, and then immediately rejected lower with a clear like relative equal lows here, and then the overall high time frame relative equal lows. Now, the reason I faded this and the reason I didn't take this in general was simply because of the gamma levels. The gamma levels, there was high positive gamma levels above, and there was like negative gamma levels below. And honestly, at this point in my trading, I don't really know what that means. So I just knew that there was high gamma above where price was, and I didn't. And just knowing that I've lost on all the trades that I've taken that don't have gamma in their favor, I just didn't want to risk it. So I did end up fading. This would have been my entry right here, and then I would have gone break even at the 15. And yeah, I didn't. And then the other potential trade setup was the 5 minute candle close right here, which again, I faded that one as well. It would have looked something like this, but I'm not even sure that one would have hit a 1-to-1. All right, going into the only trade that I ended up taking for the day, this is what it was. So we made our move down, a move high, reswept the low, and it got immediate displacement. Now, a note for this trade is we did tap into the 5 minute bearish for value gap right here. You can see we had already tapped into it, and so theoretically my break even should be there, but honestly that was super, super close, and so I didn't want to do that. So here's how it looked on the gamma side of things then. So on QQQ, which correlates to NQ, we had a very obvious big gamma strike here at the 710 strike. So you can see here is QQQ, and this was the 710 gamma strike. My plan was simple. As soon as we hit the 710 gamma strike, I would go break even. I've seen when we hit gamma strikes like that we'll just reject, and so I didn't, and because there was no gamma further like past it that we're clearly going towards, and so I simply closed my trade at a 1-to-1. So yeah, that was how it played out. I went break even right there when QQQ hit the 710 gamma level, and then it went up for a 1-to-1. Boom. So yeah, the lesson from this trade is that I just used gamma. I maybe should have taken a short near market open, but honestly, I was just conflicted on gamma levels, and so I didn't. Anyways, that is it from today's trading recap. If you want to follow along with my journey, hit the subscribe button below. You can also follow me on Instagram as well, at natetrades.official. I post daily Bible verses and my daily bias as well. So yeah, anyways, that's it. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day, boys.